Hey YouTube, this is Nia Tate. I'm here to do the review for The Shy, Season 8, Episode 3. First, I'm going to ask you please subscribe, like the video, and if you see any hype links, hype me up also. So let's get into the episode. I have to say that this season 8, they giving it to us, y'all. This every episode thus far has been jam-packed. And it's just making me hate the fact that this is the last season. I'm gonna miss this show. I just love the vibe, the music, the scenery. It's just really, really well done. It's especially this season. Now, like I said, I've been with the show from the beginning, but there have been a couple of seasons that it was a little, but this season, top notch, top tier, top tier. So let's get into what happened. And man, I'm gonna tell you, woof, Tiff, girl. She makes me so mad. So first of all, First of all, let's give a party and a shout out because Victor and Sean are free. I'm so happy. We see Jake pulling up to the jail, to the prison, and here they come walking on out. We don't know, what happened. Y'all know last week I was a little worried because Victor had a fight, but we don't hear nothing about it. They out. So Jake picks him up and Rashad talking about, I'm hungry. Let's stop the Smokies. And Jake said, we gotta stop by Tiff first. Um, and he said, she in charge now, so we gotta stop by there first. So he tells him that she's living in Alicia's house. So um Victor said, is she living there alone? And Jake said, what you think? Like, no, she not. So this one Tiffany girl, this one Tiff, I wanted to just grab her and so they get over there right to Alicia house and Sean and Victor, they get there and who's sitting to the table but Nook. Why she need Nook? I don't understand. Tiffany, Alicia left you with everything. You got the money. I guess maybe he's teaching her the ropes, and I guess she trying to learn from him, and I guess he gonna protect her. I don't know, but he's annoying. So he's sitting there. So she's like, "Do y'all need anything?" So Victor ain't saying nothing. Shaw said, "Yeah, we could hold something." Well, ain't no shame in Shaw game. So it's so awkward. They just sitting at the table, like and Nook all chest all poked out like he the man. And so she gave him she said, I got something for y'all to hold y'all over. She gave him a duffel bag of money. Like Deshaun was like, dang, it's like that. So she said, I'm sorry I didn't come visit you. Like, dang, yeah, Tiff, you could have went visit the man. He said, well, I appreciated the letters that you sent. And Nick was like, what? He said, you sent him some letters? She said, yeah, a few. So Rashad is like, I want to find out what happened, who killed Alicia. I want to find out what happened to her. And so she said, well, Tiff said, well, she had a lot of enemies. And then Nook said, uh, man, just let that go. So then Victor was like, did you kill her? And he's like, why everybody keep asking me that? Victor said, well, people do tend to, end up dead around you. And so he's like, nah, I ain't do that. I ain't do that, and I don't know who did it. So um they get ready to leave. Oh, Victor asked Tiff for his job back at the bar. And Sean said, well, I need a job too. So she said, well, at the barbershop, you can go ahead and you could sweep up, clean up at the barbershop because she owned that now too, evidently. That's who I would, girl, Dre. Why you ain't trying to get Dre? Not Nook. But anyway, um, so they go ahead and leave. And then next we see I'm jumping around a little bit, but the next thing we see is Rashad. Wait, I'm sorry. The next thing we see is the sister circle. You remember that Emmett's mom had that, where all the ladies would get together, and then his dad had started one for the fellas where they would all get together and they could just it'd be like a safe space and they could all just talk about their problems and just life in general. So all the ladies are there. Karushi, Kayla Pratt is playing Karushi's sister. Um, so they're new to the group. And so they start talking, and Tiff, got to make she the center of attention. She got to make everything about her. She's like, "Do y'all think I'm a bad parent?" And she really was asking that to Keisha. And Keisha's like, "No, I don't." She said, Keisha said, "Everybody thinks they're a bad parent at some point." And Tiff said, "Not you." She said, "Yeah, everybody does." So she said, "Well, would you give your mom your kid to raise, your child to raise?" And Keisha was like, "No." So Tiff said, "You see, I made my point." So um Emmy's dad's a lady, she said, what's her name? Raquel? I don't know what her name is. That's y'all know who I'm talking about. That's Tasha Mack from the game. That her she said, anytime you know that your child would have a better life and you can, then you would have and you make sure that they're in that with that person or in a good place, then that makes you a good parent. Then they start talking and Tiff asked, Lene was there. So Lene was like, well, I don't want to find out about being a parent no time soon. So Keisha asked Tiff, are you and Nook thinking about it? Are you thinking about having a baby with Nook? I don't know why she even asked her that because that's just weird. Anyway, and she's like, no, we hadn't really even talked about that, nothing like that. And so here go Lene. Lene said, "Which you would have you would have a child for Nook?" And Tiff said, "Well, I had." Keisha said, "Well, I had one." She said, "Yeah, but you didn't know. You thought it was for somebody else." And Keisha gonna say, "Well, even if I even if I knew it was for Nook, I would still have had it because y'all just blinded. Ain't nobody want Nook to be no baby daddy anyway." So Keisha asked Lene, like Tiff asked Lene, why you so down on Nook? And she said he kills people. And so Tiff said, "Your brother killed somebody." She said, "Yeah, but not no more." And Karushi said, "Well, who did he kill?" Another stupid question. Um, and Lene go, "He killed the pastor, I forgot his name, but y'all know the last pastor that got killed when I was on there. Pastor whoever, we gonna call him Pastor Mike. He killed Pastor Mike." And so Tip just kind of looked and everybody was like, "What?" Nobody said nothing. I'm like, "Lene, why would you say that?" Girl, because if you remember, Jabari had blurted that out to her. And here she go, tell me, "Well, y'all said it was a safe space, girl." So Tiff goes straight home and Nook walk in and he like, cause "Hey, what's up?" She got attitude. She not talking. He said, "What's wrong with you?" And she said, "Did you kill Pastor such and such?" Mike or whatever. And he said, "No, why would you ask me that? Who told you that?" And she said, "Nobody." And I've heard it from several people. He said, "Well, I need to know who told you that because that's not true." And her behind, she didn't say Papa. She gonna say, "Well, Lene, girl, why would you say that, Tiff?" Oh my God. I can't stand her. I can't stand her. And so he said, "I gotta go take care of something." She said, "You just got home." He said, "I'll be back. I gotta go take care of something." So you know what happened, right? He called Jabari over there and beat the living daylights out of him. And he told him he pulled the gun on him and put it to his head and said, "You've been pillow talking. I ought to kill you. You fired." So now Jabari is out of a job. So he go back to Lene. Why'd you say that? Why'd you? Well, I didn't mean to. It just kind of slipped out. Girl, no. So he said, what I'm gonna do now? She said, get a job. Get a regular. He said, I don't want no regular job. She said, well, what else you gonna do? You gonna be homeless? So he said, tell me you didn't do this on purpose, did you? And she's like, no, no, I didn't do. He said, you better not have. So I don't know. I hope I don't know. It's just a whole mess. So then Jabari goes over to Emmett to Smokies and asks him for a job, and he like um he said, yeah, you could sweep up and clean up in the back, but I don't and if you do a good job and I feel I could trust you, I'll put you on the register. And Jabari say, man, I don't steal like your brother. He said, well, I don't know that. So he said, but you could sweep up and we'll see. So now he has Jabari's a job at Smokey. So he actually doing a good job. Emmy complimented him and told me he was doing a good job in the back. So he was like, well, can I hit that register? He said, nah, man. Give it a little bit more time. But you're doing a good job. Just take the compliment. So in another little storyline, Tasha Mack took Emmett's son. They having like a little um it's a little group for I don't want to I guess I don't at risk. I don't want to say bad kids, but it's two other little boys in there, and him. I don't know. I forgot. I don't know Ennis son's name. So they all have like this little group session, and these kids got a lot going on. I'm not really sure why this in the storyline, but I'm sure there's something to it. Um, and I guess we'll find out later. But yeah, Emmy little boy, they had this uh, parents came in, and so Tiff, Keisha introduced herself to him, and she said, "I'm his stepmom," and he gonna say, "You're not married to my dad, boy. Shut up. You living? I'm taking help and take care of you. These kids, I'm telling you, just disrespectful. Keep your mouth shut." So next up, we see Tiff and Victor. They're at the bar, and so she said, I'm glad you're home. And he said, yeah, I'm glad I'm home too. And she's like, um, I don't want you to feel like I chose um, Nook over you. He said, well, you kind of did. She said, he's teaching me the ropes and just to be, he was there. And he said, I wasn't. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, Tim, that ain't no good, ugh, girl. So she said, "Are we gonna be able to work together or is it gonna be awkward?" And he said, "Nah, we cool." She said, "You want to hug about it?" He said, "Nah." So he go home, Victor, and he tells oh, I forgot to tell y'all. That big bag of money that Tiff gave to Victor, Victor, I hope you took some money out for you and Rashad. But he gave the majority of it. He went back to the house and he told Reg, if you get out of here, you could take this money. And of course, Reg took the money. That's all he said. Victor even say, yeah, I know what you like. Here, take this money. So he left. He left the house. I thought he was gonna say no because he was kind of taking his time to answer. So he left and Reg went right over there to his ex-girlfriend. I forgot her name. And her real name is Megan, I think Gomez. Reagan Gomez. She's an actress from a long time ago. And I was hoping she wasn't off the show. Because I'm like, how they gonna keep Karushi and not her? But they back together. She let him back home. He showed her that money. He said, I want to help you pay off your house. She's like, I don't need you to help me. But he sweet talked about he love her and all of this. So he back over there. So when Victor went home that night after he had talked to Tiff, um, Rashad stayed there with him. So he said Rashad was getting dressed. He said, "Where you going?" He said, "I got a date." And he said, "Of course you do. You just got home." So Rashad was going on a date with the lawyer, the attorney that got them off. And so yeah, I knew they was gonna end up together because I could see there was a little chemistry there. And so he said, so is this the first time you dated a client? She said, you're not my client. That's why, I said yes, because you're no longer my client. You're free now. So that's good. They look like they gonna make something out of it. So next up we see Jabari had went to empty the trash and they was towing his car, y'all. He told that guy, he said, man, why you towing my car? He said, man, you behind. He said, Jabari said, it's only been 2 months. He said, that's it, that's 2 months too long. I'm like, Jabari, why you out here hustling with looking at him? You should have bought that car outright. Why you got a note, bro? What's up? So now he don't have a car. So he walking home after he get off and who pull up next to him? Bud Reg. And so he gets in the car. Red's like, you want to ride? And so he gets in the car with Reg and he says, so this where you working at now? You working at Smokies? Um he's like, yeah. And he say, I see why your car got took got towed. I got took, repossessed, whatever. He said that. He said, I see why your car got took. He said, well, I got a job for you. And Jabari's like, nah, I don't want no job. He says, it's real clean, real easy, and no strings. And so Jabari is like, oh, there's always strings. And so Reg pulled out those pills, the ones that Jackie Long girlfriend had sold him. He said, if you move these for me, I give you I think he first he told her 50% or something like that. And Jabari is like, why you want me to do it? He said it's just easy turnaround. So I hope Jabari don't Jabari, you gonna sell them pills in Emmett Place? That's gonna be a mess. I hope you don't do that. Then Emmett Place get took. Like, what's going on? Don't do that, Jabari. You better do that on after work. So he said, well, if Jabari said, if I sell them, I want more than 50%. I'm gonna need, um, at least 70%. So he took them, and I guess he gonna be doing it. Like I said, I just hope he's not selling it nowhere around Emmett. So what's that man? The one that used to own Smokey, the one that Sonny, the one that used to work, even used to work for long years ago. I think that's cool. They brought him back on the show since it's the last, season because he was on there what the first 2 seasons or whatever. That's where Emmett used to work. Was the Smokies. So he's visiting. He said his sister passed away. And Emmett was real happy to see him. And he told Emmett, he said, yeah, you did well with the place. He said, you should be thinking about, you're not thinking about franchising. And he said, yeah, he said that take a lot of, support and money. And so Sonny was like, lean on your community. So he goes home and he thinks about it. He asked Tiff, he said, it's just gonna take a lot of time away from us. And she said, well, I appreciate you, not Tiff, Keisha. I appreciate you considering that. She said, but it takes it's gonna take a lot of money we need to make sure we have enough money for all these children. So he said, well, we'll think about it. She said, yeah, maybe the lady that's managing smoking, she's doing a really good job. Maybe she can help you open, another spot. So also, I wanted to say, I forgot the young lady name, the pastor daughter, Papa and her, she's talking to Papa, and Papa been smoking and drinking a lot, and he stopped going to church. So she tried to talk to him, and he didn't really. He was like, it's just I just lost I lost my dad, and I lost, the pastor. And she could tell that he like really down. So she went to Emmett and told him, she said, Papa smoking and drinking a lot. He said, Papa, you know, like, cause he don't do that. He said, yes. And she said, he even stopped going to church. She said, he need can you please talk to him? He need a father figure. Emmett said, I ain't doing too well myself with my own kids, but he said, I'll talk to him. So he went out with it and he talked to him. And Emmett said, yeah, I heard you been smoking and drinking a lot. Papa said, you smoke and drink? He said, not that much. So he's like, oh, well what do you do to get through, hard times? He said, I talked to Keisha. He said, uh, well, maybe you think I should talk to whatever that young lady. He said, yeah, you should try it. He said, and maybe we should bring back the group that we would talk to each other. He said because Emissy, yeah, I could use it too. So I guess maybe next week they'll have their own little circle. So Jake, in the meantime, there's a little side story going on with the little girl chick he met last week, the little influencer, and they kind of flirting with each other. It's cute, but it ain't really the focus of the story. So at the end of the night, we see Tiff, and again, that's who ends the story. Tiff and Nook, and they're in bed together, and he tells her, "I love you," and he say, "Look," and then the show went off because I think she believes that she know that Nook done does some dirty stuff, so she feel like, you know, I don't know what she was going through her head, but there's a point in the show that happened. Nook was talking to the two new guys that he done hired. We talked about last week, and that's the dude. He go with the girl. The chick baby daddy is the guy that Nook had fired that had got in Jabari face. That's his baby mama that the dude go with, and so he said, yeah, he used to work for me, and they were talking about women, and they say women he ain't no good or whatever, and then the dude say, yeah, women ain't no good either, they can't be trusted, and they're talking about my girl could be trusted, and that dude say, yeah, that's what everybody say. mm, mm. So I don't know. uh it seemed like Nook really do like Tiff. I think he really done fell in love with her, and I also think that at the end of the day, the day gonna end, and Tiff gonna be the one to end it. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. But she made me so mad this week. I was just over her. So anyway, that was the episode. Really good episode. I'm gonna give it. mm, I'm gonna give it a B because although it was really good, I think there's more things, more room for improvements. Uh, but it was good. I'm just happy. I'm so glad that they did not drag out Victor and Shad in prison for like 6 or 7 episodes. They out. Let's move on. So very good. Thank you all so much for listening to my review. I will be right back here next week for episode 4. You guys have a great afternoon, and I'm out.